everyone, Merry Christmas. I hope you're all having a wonderful Christmas week. Today I would like to bring you my 5 top children's Christmassy books, and these books I love them all for all different reasons. And if you've got children, or if you know children, or if you've got like cousins and little siblings like I do, then these would maybe make perfect Christmas gifts for those children. I'm really excited, yay! First one I've got is Nickolai and the Battle of the Nightmare King by William Joyce. And this book you might recognise, it's from the Guardian series by William Joyce. DreamWorks, they made a film about, they kind of combined all of these stories into one big story and made the film Rise of the Guardians. But not much was known about the books, and I think that's really sad because these books are amazing. They are so beautifully written, they are all illustrated. This is one of my favourite illustrations, and they're just beautiful, beautiful books. This box set that I've got, it has 2 others, which are Toothiana and the Queen of the Tooth Fairy Armies, and E. Aster Bunnymund and the Warrior Eggs at the Earth's Core. And I think now there is also some picture books that are part of this collection, and also another full novel like this, which is about and another full novel like this one, which is about the Sandman. And these are extraordinary books. They are just so different than anything else that I've read. And Nickolai is my favourite of them all. I think it's the first in the series, and it's about a kind of, I don't know, I think you'd describe him as your typical fantasy bloke, really. Like, he's really good at sword fighting, he's a bit of a thief, he's a bit greedy, so he likes gold and treasure hunting, things like that. And he gets, I think one of the taglines in this book is that heroes aren't made, they are tested, which I really like that kind of idea. So it's really nice to see the origin stories of those characters from the film. Also, this is a brilliant series all on its own, and it's got the perfect kind of style for like reading aloud to your children on Christmas night. These are wonderful books and I really recommend them. The next one has also been made into a film starring Eddie Izzard, and it's Lost Christmas by David Logan. This one's more of a low budget film. I think you could maybe, it's definitely got flaws, but it's very cutesy, very warm hearted, and I think it's got good morals, and also like it's just a really different sort of a story. So this book is about a little boy called Goose he's had a rough couple years, and it's Christmas time, his parents are dead, and he's just lost his dog, and his uncle is not a very nice character. He lives on a pretty rough estate, and he's been into stealing and things like that. So he's really not looking forward to Christmas at all, but one night he meets a strange man called Anthony who doesn't know anything about himself, but he seems to know a lot about other people, and he's very good at finding things. So Goose hopes that he can find his lost dog, but also help him find a bit more. And this story is beautiful, I think. It's got a lot more going on in it, and I think the film really does it justice, especially considering it's quite low budget. It's got Eddie Izzard, which always makes the film great. It's maybe for kids who are a little bit older. I think it's got some quite dark themes. It's got some quite deeper themes about grief and guilt and responsibility as well. So yeah, there's that one. This one, I always forget this is a Christmas story until I watched the film, and then I'm like, oh yeah. So this one is also a film, and this is Millions by Frank Cottrell-Boyce, and this I think is one of my favourite children's books. And I know it doesn't really look very Christmassy. This is the film edition, and I think even the other editions don't really look very Christmassy, but it is kind of set in the lead up to Christmas. And it's about 2 little boys who have just moved into a new estate with their father, and they recently lost their mother to cancer. And one of the little boys, Damien, he's a little bit obsessed with saints, and he can actually see saints. They come and visit him. So there's quite a bit in here about mental health, and a little bit about self-harm as well, just to warn you. But it's a really beautiful book, and the main plot of this book is that Damien and his brother, they find a bag of money, like a massive bag of a lot of money. They can play money Jenga with this stuff, it's so great. And Damien is determined to do good with this. He thinks the money's from God. I'd like to know also that this isn't actually a Christian book or anything like that. I think it's written very well with those themes. It's not preachy at all, but it's quite an interesting dynamic between Damien and his brother. His brother's quite a selfish person, but he's also very grown up, and the way these two boys have dealt with their separate grief is very interesting, I think. But as things get closer and closer to Christmas, there's a cut-off date for when this money has to be changed, because the UK is having the euro and all this money is in sterling. So they're trying to spend it as fast as possible and get rid of it as fast as possible. But also somebody is looking for the money. So, ooh. But yeah, it's beautiful. I really love it. And the ending is just, and the film is amazing as well. I think it's directed by Danny Boyle, and the editing is really, really cool. Like, I've not seen editing like that in a long time. And it's got a great soundtrack as well. So I really recommend both of those. They're like, really nice, heartwarming films, film and book. I should have brought all the films with me as well. The next one, you'll be glad to know, isn't a film, though I think it would make an actually really great animation. And it's called Nickolai of the North by Lucy Daniel Raby, and this is one I read myself as a child and I absolutely adored it. I read it every year, I think, from when I first got it to like, I think, middle of secondary school. Like, I loved this book. It was like my guilty pleasure at Christmas to read this book. This is basically an origin story of where Father Christmas came from, but it's a great adventure. It's about a little boy called Nickolai, who is the last of the elves, and he is raised in the Arctic Circle in a little village by an old couple, and he knows all of his life that he is different. There's kind of like a crisis or something going on, and suddenly all the villages around the Arctic Circle are starting to go to this mythical city at the North Pole. And a lot of people aren't really sure why they're drawn to this city, they need to go. And this city is built on the ancient city of the elves, and the evil Queen Magda is like the queen of this city. It's a really great story about friendship and just fun and sleigh riding and reindeers and being creative. So it's quite complex. You've got a lot of really good like relationships in here. I think this is one of the first books that I read that had really solid friendships, and I really, really liked that. And also like a really supportive family as well. So much fun. This is a great book. I do not understand why it's not an animation yet, because it would be great fun. It's also illustrated, so you can see some of that. Give it to all your children. The last one is a recent purchase which I have bought for my little cousin because, Christmas things. And it's The Last Stop on the Reindeer Express by Carl James Mountford and Maudie Powell-Tuck. And this is a really beautiful picture book. Just look, it's got beautiful colour schemes. And it's about a little girl who wants to send a letter to her father. So her mum doesn't think that this letter will get to her father in time, so she's walking glumly through a Christmas market when they come across this little door here that leads them on an adventure. So, yay. Beautiful book. I love the illustrations, and the colour palette is just so beautiful. And the story is just really heartwarming, and I think the moral inside it as well, and the way it talks about parents who are split up, not see one part of their family and things like that. So I've explained this really, really badly, but it's a beautiful book. So yeah, I'm excited to give this one to my little cousin, even though she's probably a bit too young for it. But beautiful pictures. All kids love beautiful pictures, don't they? Yay. So those are my recommendations for children's books at Christmas. So if you've got any others, let me know, because I love Christmassy children's books. It's amazing. So tell me all your favourites. Merry Christmas. I hope you all have very bookish Christmases. Goodbye.